screaming all lives matter is a protest to my protest. What kind of is that?
To anyone who ever responded to Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matter, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
You see, I want to check in on your stance. When Black Lives Matter took to the streets to protest the unlawful killing of black people, a counter-protest ensued. Those counter-protesters were people who just took issue with the idea that the treatment of black lives by the justice system had come under scrutiny, and so took the protests as a personal attack on them, which is why they chose to protest the protest. But while Black Lives Matter have continued to vocalize their outrage, and again they took to the streets this past weekend to protest the murder of Botham Jean and the despicable attempts to smear his character, there were no counter-protesters, which left me curious. Do you still believe all lives matter? Do you believe that Botham's life matter? Do you think that Botham's life would have been lost, his character smeared, and his death tied to marijuana if he was white? Because these are the questions you should be asking yourself if in fact you do still believe that all lives matter. And I ask because the only time I hear all lives matter come up in conversation is in response to someone saying Black Lives Matter.
All lives matter.
I've never seen all lives matter signs at any of the marches to insist the Trump administration keep families together. You know, I would have assumed all lives would have included children being inhumanely separated from their mothers and fathers. Nor, when I think about it, did I see any All Lives Matter activists speaking out against Trump's efforts to deny the lives lost after Hurricane Maria. I mean, the word all is so broad, I would assume it included the residents of Puerto Rico, many of whom are still currently living amidst destruction. Don't you feel that Puerto Ricans, as US citizens, could benefit from your voice the same way you lend it to a conversation whenever Black Lives Matter dare speak out? But no, we have not heard from you. While those who said Black Lives Matter also said keep families together, help Puerto Rico, march for our lives, and fight for 15, you said nothing. Which leads me to believe that when you said all lives matter, you really didn't mean it. What you meant was, I refuse to acknowledge that black lives are treated differently in America, so I will do everything I can to distort the message and deflect. Wow, that sounds so familiar.
But I don't hate America. These people hate America.
Well, maybe Black Lives Matter were actually disrespecting the military. I mean, am I wrong here? I'm open to anyone who can come over and tell me different. Because you want to know what I believe wholeheartedly? That those who actually said all lives matter are the biggest cowards in America. And now, your silence speaks volumes. Because when you said all lives matter, what you really meant was black lives don't matter. And the current predicament in Dallas actually, and sadly, validates that point. The sad fact is that to many Americans, black lives simply don't matter. An off-duty police officer walked into a black man's apartment and killed him in the comfort of his own home. And instead of thoroughly investigating the officer, Dallas PD quickly booked her and let her out on bail just an hour after committing this atrocity. Which, by the way, is 23 hours earlier than those who were arrested for peacefully protesting her crime. Her victim's apartment was scoured so that police could blast out to the social media that they'd found marijuana, yet she was allowed to move out of her apartment without it being searched. Meanwhile, the victim, a God-loving, righteous Christian man, has had his character smeared by the very same Dallas PD, and many in the media. But his life, like those in Puerto Rico or those separated at the border, doesn't matter to those who said all lives matter. Because all lives matter always had an asterisk at the bottom. All lives matter, restrictions may apply. Or maybe, just maybe, this sign was just a modern day version of this sign. Come over to my Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell and interact there. If you want to become a member, tytnetwork.com/join. Never miss another breakdown video by ringing the bell below. You'll get notified whenever we publish something new. And don't forget to join TYT today. Download our TYT Plus app on your phone or head over to tyt.com/join.